Hello, thanks for attending this presentation. My name is Luis Corral, and on behalf of my co-authors, I'm gonna present you the paper titled Work from Anywhere Skills, Aligning Supply and Demand Starting from High Schools. The authors of this paper are Dr. Ilenia Fronza, Luis Corral, who's speaking, Gennaro Giaccarino, Lucia Bartoli, and Klaus Paul from the Free University of Bolzano, Tec de Monterrey, Mexico, and the Galilei High School in Bolzano, Italy. So let's start with a bit of context. After the crisis given by the pandemic and the adaptation of the scholar, academic, and productive sectors to the new working conditions, the world from working from home, working from everywhere grew more than ever and requires and demanded us for different skills, abilities, and way of working. Recent surveys revealed that workers would like to keep up with this pace of working setting. So we can hear in newspapers, in LinkedIn surveys, in different channels that this is something that arrived to stay. And some companies, little by little, start exploring different models, working fully remote, working hybrid, or working from different settings so that they can explore the different possibilities that this new setting can give. So right now, working from anywhere is a reality, and the working from everywhere skills that are expected for new workers is something that we can start aligning and growing and fine-tuning since early stages of our education, unlike previously where we all prepared to work personally and work face-to-face in a specific setting. So fostering these skills from an early stage of education becomes a must, becomes crucial. So people studying or getting ready for advanced degrees or working in an industrial and productive setting and so on, come equipped with more and finest abilities to mesh in such an environment. So our goal as educators, as people working with students, or people working with universities and so on, is to set the goals and the strategies to train students in these new skill set that is required to work in this new setting. So the challenge here is align the supply, that is us, educators from schools and universities, to the job market, the demand, that is what the industry, private sectors, the government sectors, academic sectors would require from professionals so they can integrate and they can mesh in this new way of working. So an up-to-date analysis of the current situation is missing, and right now it's an open opportunity for us as a researcher, so we can put focus on this and understand more what is the status quo so far. So in order to shed light on this and contribute to the current understanding on that, we place ourselves several research questions. The first one is, how ready are scholars we are placing the setting in high schools to eventually work from anywhere? This question is broken down in two. The first one, how do students perceive work from everywhere? And what are the work from everywhere skills that currently students have? The next question is, what skills do employers think are needed for working from anywhere? And finally, how aligned are the supply and demand on working from anywhere skills? So to provide an input on these questions, or to understand in a better way the different settings that such questions would require us to explore, we set up a methodology in which, through a case study and analysis of perception and analysis of expectations, we can have a clear panorama about the way students are working now and what do they believe, what do they perceive, and the way that the industry, private and public sectors are working now, and what is the expectation as the current working from anywhere setting is more and more accepted. So, in order to have this variety of inputs and not to miss any of or what is important, we have a three-way approach to this analysis. The first one is to set up a case study where students work actually in this distributed environment, in this work from anywhere environment, and they provide us their perception, and we can observe also the skills that they grow working in such a setting. And in a different arena, in a parallel arena, also asking industries and asking employers about what would be their expectation on people working currently from home or working currently from anywhere, and in what way the skills and the perception that students have aligned with the skills and the perception that employers require in a productive setting. And with that, we can have a good approach to provide an answer to all our questions. So let's have a deep dive on the analysis that we did, the case study that we run, and the answers that we got. Okay, so let's start discussing what was our working setting. So our case study was done in a high school based out in Bolzano, in northern Italy, where 23 students, we can see also the distribution, the demographic, the age, participated during 15 days, 2 weeks. We were working remotely partially and working face-to-face in other time slots of the week. They were required to develop a web-based application that was commissioned by a customer, that in this case it was an on-site customer, lab technicians, that they were able to set requirements and ask them to solve them. And the working from home skills that we try to observe and try to foster was the way that students could create a strategy. How did they manage their own time? The way that the team was integrated, how did they manage to build a team? Negotiation skills, because this is a design with a contract with requirements that they are supposed to implement. So what was the approach to that? Sharing documentation, decision making, and overall having a healthy team working. The work and the follow-up was also broken down in daily objectives to facilitate the achievement of objectives, and of course to trace them in a clear way. The business structure that they set up is, as we can see now in the chart, where there are roles and responsibilities that are decided and assigned by the students with the supervision and approval of the teacher, and they were also required to set up an organizational plan. The data that we collected in this working setting was to provide a daily online questionnaire where students can tell us what are the way of working, strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats, like a typical SWOT analysis, with a selection of questions that were provided over and over, so we can also see the way that the perception evolves and changes through the time. Also, we provided this online questionnaire where we can assess all the acquisition of the digital skills that they are acquiring. So as I said some charts ago, is not only the perception of what they do, but also the skills that they develop, so we can eventually align them to the expectation of the productive sector, and also observing what kind of technology they use, what kind of software tools they use, what kind of unexpected other ways of working they implement, and observe them very, very closely. And not only the usage and the implementation of these tools, but the good command and the good skills that the students acquire using them all. So, in addition to this input of information, we have a separate one that is interviews with the productive sector. So there was a selection of around 10 industry representatives. We focus a lot on people working on companies with the role of talent acquisition, because they are the first front that is required to assess the skills and the capabilities of people looking for a job. But we didn't limit our analysis to work with talent acquisition professionals, but also with frontline leadership, people management or people leadership, managers that work directly with people, and they can also assess and they can also profit from the working from anywhere abilities that workers have currently. So we ask them openly what kind of skills or competencies you are looking for candidates that you know upfront that they are going to work in a remote environment or in a distributed environment, and which of those skills are completely brand new result of the recent situation of the world, and what others were identified previously but still prevail or get accented because of this working environment. We try also to spread our sample through the globe so we don't have a bias on what is the perception of Europe, Americas, or any other region. So even if the sample is rather small, is 10 companies, we make sure that we distributed these 10 companies through different areas. Results. Let's discuss what we found for our research questions. Okay, for the first one, how do students perceive remote work or working from anywhere? So the objectives of the case study were achieved. They deliver and they ship the product, but we wanted to know what are the perception of this SWOT analysis I discussed previously. So strength, team collaboration, more autonomy, deciding themselves, more autonomy also using tools, and a direct communication with the customer. Weaknesses that were identified: poor internal communication, even though the relationship with the team was good. Working separately put a challenge on the way that they communicated, and is somehow understandable, but at the same time is part of the challenge that we need to overcome. Human resource management is the same, is not necessarily efficient. When we work independently, probably we are sharing our time with some other thing, or we are multitasking and so on, and respecting deadlines is a necessary consequence. Opportunities and threats. Let's start with opportunities. This was a first approach to real working from anywhere, to real smart work, and the possibility to deepen on unconventional topics for skill acquisition that is very in line to what the industry will require us next. Threats, inflexible management of short times. Okay, this is a case study that is time bounded, so it's expected to have it here. Poor communication between the students and professors, also very related to time slots, and overlapping with other commitments. I discussed previously about multitasking, about sharing our attention. It has to do with that. And let's keep up checking more results that are also interested. Students voiced that they were best in the morning time slot. That is very in line with the routine that they already have, that is going to the school in the morning and have additional school or external activities in the afternoon. So they found themselves working better in the mornings, maintaining their regular habits. Working from anywhere was more difficult where parents have a fixed schedule and they do not work remotely, because that's also part of the routine of the family and so on. What work from home skills students have? The result of this questionnaire was okay. I'm going to discuss it in a minute. Just an overall of the demographics. We have 616 answers. The background of the students is rather technical, but we also consider other specialization in high school not to have a complete bias on technical. More demographics are also displayed in the chart. So for our second research question, what kind of working from home students report? Is mostly communication tools, because of the heavy use of social network and other communication tools. Students are already experienced on that. They have an excellent command of the use of those. The important thing is that they profit this experience in favor of a productive goal. Then something that is interesting to discuss is that only a few respondents voiced that they have preparation, information sharing, or communication skills, and the usage also of information technology tools here. So as we see that the students work heavily with social media and other communication challenge, there is still a good opportunity on having a better education, a better skill set or command on collaborative tools, for example, editing collaborative a document, or coding collaborative using configuration management like GitHub. So all this leverage of technology is still a challenge to overcome. Then from the side of the industry, the trend was very clear. Employers are looking for talent who is self-driven. The technical skills will come eventually, or the technical alignment will come as they join to the company and to the culture. But what they want, what is important to them, is people who is self-driven, who has a good communication approach and good communication skills, provided that they will be working, we don't know from where. Autonomy and time management also, that goes line in line to what we hear from students. Curiosity, endurance, of course, resiliency, they are present there. But it's interesting to see how self-motivation, communication, autonomy are top rank in this set of skills that employers are looking for. And finally, how do we find this alignment currently, right after coming out from the pandemic, and as we get educated in this new way of work? Teamwork and collaboration, flexibility, time investment, we are fine on that. The students working in this setting voice and report that they feel comfortable in those, and employers say this is important to me. Communication skills, autonomy, and resourcefulness, it's a requirement by employers, but it's not necessarily a given by students working in this context. Being self-driven and self-motivating is expected in industry, but students still need to work a lot on time management and autonomy. And technological literacy, already discussed this, it's also a must, the technology usage and the technology literacy, and it's an opportunity that the students are not completely exploiting right now, at least in what we observe in this case study. Limitation of this study, it relies a lot on qualitative data, on personal perception, on personal opinions on the students, and also from employers. So larger samples are needed, and the systematization of data acquisition could be also a good opportunity on that. And also, we as educators, we also need to have more training, more education cells, so we can be a good facilitator research, a good entry point for students, so they can acquire and they can promote these skills independently. Recommendations for educators to continue filling the gap: propose activities where a sequential, typical, traditional routine is interrupted, and then we expose students to work more in this hybrid or fully remote structure, considering or expecting that in the future their job would require them so. As a student grows in age and maturity, also experiences are closer to an industrial setting, so this is a good opportunity, especially by the end of K-12, promoting and fostering these activities, thinking also that in college years, this structure is also more and more welcome. And finally, keep up adopting the best working from home practices to take the best out of these face-to-face interactions and take the best out of the technology usage, and align this new skill set and this new set of qualifications and set of soft skills and set of technology skills, so that the transition from working in the school, working in academy to the industry sector would be smoother, because we are more and more prepared to the skills and qualification that industry requires now and would continue requiring in the future. I would thank you for your attention, and these are our contact information, so you can stay in touch with us. Thank you very much.